Oops.
Check, checkaroo.
You keep talking. I'm gonna
La
check
la
YouTube.
la, da 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 da. This is me talking. Oh my goodness. Shouldn't have ate those hash browns this morning. They were disgusting. They were freezer burnt, but I ate them anyway.
Okay, I think that works really well.
Awesome. Cool. Alright, cool. So, you want me to just start into it?
Okay, I'm just sorry. I took my headset off to double check it. So, okay, hang on. Let me turn this down, and I'm going to restart it. But I'm live.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready, sir?
I am ready to go.
Alright, here we go. And a 1, and a 2, and a 3. Welcome to Games and Gimmicks.
Wait, did I just fuck you up? Sorry.
Yeah, sure did.
Alright, go for it.
Sure did. Okay, here we go. One more time. Welcome to Games and Gimmicks, the podcast discussing video games, professional wrestling, and everything in between. I'm E. Huffy alongside the Poor Ass Gamer.
Hello, everybody.
Here he is. We're here once again. PlayStation Plus reviews, slightly behind, so please forgive us. We're into December, but we're going to talk. We're going to talk about the November PlayStation Plus games. I was a terrible co-host. Didn't follow my own advice, and I did not play and/or add either game to my library. So that is my fault.
Good.
And so what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of lead the gamut on this, and I'm going to just bombard Mr. Ass Gamer with all these questions about
Mr.
these games.
Ass. I am Mr. Ass, the gimmicks part of this podcast.
You're going to play the part of Mr. Ass.
Yes.
So yeah, we're going to start with the Deadly Tower of Monsters. So give us a rundown. What is the Deadly Tower of Monsters? And,
okay.
What is this thing?
Yeah, so it's actually, the funny thing about, PlayStation Plus, and we've said this before in terms of past games, is that you truly do get a wide swath of different style of games. In the last few months and even just the year and everything there too, I would say 2016 as far as these games, I feel like they've been a little bit more varied. We've been getting some big titles. We've been getting some, kind of more creative titles. The Deadly Tower of Monsters is kind of one of those ones that you wouldn't expect to be fun to play. I honestly didn't think it was going to be fun at all. But to give you a general synopsis of what it is, it's kind of like I would say like 50s, 60s B-movie style game. It's mocking, those old school like sci-fi movies that were just kind of like crappily made during that time. And what it is actually, it's really funny. It's basically the director and I guess like this studio hand that's working with him too as well are providing commentary throughout the entire game while you're playing it. So It's like it's almost like you're playing a movie DVD version of this terrible movie that's called The Deadly Tower of Monsters. And it's funny. That's probably the best part that I can, or the best thing I can take away from this game is that like, it's actually funny and there's a lot of really like ridiculous commentary and like the director's clearly like stupid, like he doesn't know how to really put shots together and he doesn't know how, like he makes fun of the actors and stuff in the movie. But it's basically, when it comes down to it, you are a little character that climbs up a huge tower of different monsters and you're fighting all these bad guys as you get all the way up to the top. So you're climbing all the way up to space basically to fight the final bad guy. So it's really simple. We'll kind of get into it a little bit here, so I'm gonna actually start it up at this point. The main director has just like this funny voice too as well, so it does actually lead a lot to playing this game because he's like crude and ridiculous and just absurd. So it's like it's fun to play. When it comes down to it, there are some downsides and some plus sides to the game. Okay. I would say the biggest downside to this is that it's got a fixed camera.
Okay.
So you're climbing up and down these like large areas, and right now I'm actually in a space area right now too as well. But it's one of those games that honestly, like, sometimes the camera gets in your way and it actually causes more problems than it does like actually playing the game, because you can't rotate around your character at all. You're stuck in that position. But I guess as far as like plus sides to this game, you get a choice between 3 different characters. There's tons of like funny little bad guys that you're fighting too as well. My favorite part of like what you fight in this game, I'm gonna actually zoom down to like the very bottom of. You can teleport through the entire tower or go all the way down to the very bottom stage if you want there too as well. I'm going to try to find some bad guys so that the folks that are joining us on the video podcast can actually see some of the ridiculous characters that you encounter. I really like the fact that what they did with this movie or this game is that they try to make it as best like a B movie, that it was kind of cheesy, that it's kind of crappily made, and that like one of my favorite parts is that the bad guys are like stop motion-y. So like you'll see a dinosaur or something coming at you and it's got like this like missing frame in it, so it makes it seem like it's like it was shot like 50 years ago with claymation. So it's really cool what they're doing with the available technology. Like there's little like apes attacking me and stuff like that too, and it's basically just, when it comes down to it, it's a hack and slash. You run around and you actually just hack and slash all the bad guys, and you get different types of weapons to upgrade. And right now I'm getting attacked by monkeys with I don't know, they're just hitting me with clubs and stuff, and I'm hitting them with a electric whip. So there's some really fun things with this. You got tons of weapons to choose from, tons of like, I don't know, it's just very creative. That was my favorite part about this, is that it really feels like that it's an original game. It's not something I've seen before. And I really enjoyed it just on that basis, because it was like, wow, this is completely different than anything that PlayStation's really offered me in a while. So,
now, who made this? Is it somebody that we know that's had a game out before that we've played or that we know about? Or
I don't think so. I think the company's name is Atlas, I believe.
Okay.
They may or may not have made games in the past and everything there too as well, but this is really truly, I think, like it's a surprising one for me. I mean, I can tell you that sometimes it's a little frustrating in certain parts, because it is possible to fall off of the larger parts where you're at. So if you're not paying attention,
I can see where that would be.
You can definitely fall like all the way down to the bottom of the game. But I don't think that this is a game that like. This is a pretty casual game, I would say. Like, you don't have to be well-versed in really video games to play this game. You just climb to the top of the tower. You find there's a couple sequences in the game that I really enjoyed, actually. One of them was you fight a giant like King Kong-esque character. So you're climbing up as this giant like monkey is grabbing different panels, and it's pulling down panels while you're trying to run up. And then the really, really cool thing is with each bad guy, you you end up basically knocking them off the tower, and then as you're falling, you're shooting at all the bad guys. So there's these really cool like B-movie style shots like you would see in like King Kong, and like you've seen those things. We've spent a lot of time when watching different movies and stuff like that. And it really truly, I think, encapsulates that whole feeling of these sort of really stupid movies. And they're fun it's fun to watch. Like, I think overall, like that's what you can kind of get from this game is just like, hey, you're gonna have fun just like jumping around, shooting bad guys. You're also gonna have fun just really, if anything, just enjoying the motif, because there's not a lot of games that try to do this sort of stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's not an original idea out there really when it comes to video games right now. So
it's nice to have this kind of game as a change of pace.
Right.
Something that's really simple, kind of just to pick up and play, and it's not overly complex. Because from what I'm seeing, it looks pretty entertaining. I can see how having a fixed camera could be frustrating at times. And plus, we're so used to, with all the games that we play,
a 3D camera.
Even when they make retro style games, even the 2D scrollers, you're able to move the camera in some way to help you. So we're so used to it, and so it's a very it's kind of a jarring experience to not be able to move that camera in any way.
Yeah, and I would say that in general, though, this game is pretty forgiving. You know, in most cases, like the checkpoint system, it seems to set you up so that you don't really have to like go and replay through huge events. There was a section when I get to the larger part where I can even warp to it right now too as well, where you're jumping between platforms and stuff, and that was the one situation where I was like, this does not fit this correctly, because it makes it feel like that you can't make certain jumps and things like that too, because you can't rotate your camera around you. This sequence right here, which you'll see on the video podcast, is you have to jump onto different like floating platforms and then onto satellites that are rotating, and this was one of the moments where I was truly just really mad, because I couldn't anticipate the jumps, and it got to a point where like literally I messed up so many times that it started showing this little like dotted line path in the area. So it does try to help you, so that was kind of cool. That's that funny. Like I died like 5 or 6 times in this sequence, and it was like, okay, well here's how you beat it basically, and it just drew a little line to where I needed to go.
See, that's good. I like that, and it's not a shaming way to help you. Like if for anybody that's played the Arkham series, if you were just having off days where you weren't doing well in the fighting, and if you were ever getting your ass handed to you, the game would remind you, hey, this is how you counter. So it almost was like in a shaming kind of way,
a passive aggressive
like, hey,
way.
You forget, right? Exactly. So, but that's nice that they offer a little tip to, hey, if you are stuck, here's a little aid. Here's how you get there. Here's what you do.
There's certain things like you have this little like jetpack, and you're supposed to be able to like you only get a couple seconds worth of jetpack to be able to actually jump between different things. And right now, I guess you'll see me fighting these bizarre Hoover type characters that are all over the place. It's a funny little game. Like you can kind of see some of the bad guys that they really did a good job at encapsulating that whole B movie feel.
Right.
But it's really ridiculous. Like, when you get into actually playing the game, I think a lot of people will love the commentary. I was laughing along with it because I thought it was so stupid. Like, there's just so many dumb jokes, and talking about, how bad they didn't have any money for certain things. They're like, we didn't have enough money for the spaceman helmets, so, we had to make up some excuse about why some of the bad guys later on in the movie don't have helmets even though they're in space. So there's like funny parts that they try to make, light about basically how stupid and like bad really those movies were back then, because it's the infancy of actual cinema. There's so many funny things to be taken away from that, and I'm glad that really somebody's trying something different. So I honestly think, even though you didn't play this game, Eric, there too as well. Did you added it to your library though, right?
I did not, but I still can because I have until Tuesday. Okay. That's why I said I was a double whammy on taking my own advice. So, right. But I have until Tuesday to add these 2 games to the library. So
that's right. Yeah, because they don't change over until the first Tuesday or whatever, or whenever they decide to actually release the next set of PlayStation Plus games. So, so definitely, I mean, I think that I can't recommend this game enough, because truly, if you're just enjoying something that's just going to be fun, you don't want to think about it too much. You want to just play a fun, silly little game that is easy enough to pick up without really having to like go, I'm not a hardcore gamer. I don't play COD or COD championships every week or things like that too as well. I'm not one of those people. So if you kind of just enjoy like a good, fun sort of basic video game, I think this is something that you'll enjoy. We talked about downsides. I think honestly only the camera is really the biggest deal to me. But other than that, it was enjoyable. So I think overall, I would give this give it a shot. It's definitely not for everybody, but I think that most people will enjoy it. If you even have a little bit of time, you'll find a need to want to play it and pick it up again. So.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks like we're gonna give the Deadly Tower of Monsters a give it a shot for this PlayStation Plus game of November. So I think at this point we'll take our quick little timeout, and then we're going to boot up. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. That's game number 2.
Yeah, it's
PS Plus games.
Dude, it's such a beautiful game. You're gonna see some of these lovely visuals coming up here soon. So if you're watching right now, feel free to take a look at the podcast on our YouTube page. But we'll be back in a few minutes with Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. So cool.